Hello, bruvs. We're back with Call Me Crazy by Heche. I think we're on chapter 9, maybe 10. Yeah, chapter 10. Drugs and Other Distractions. When I arrived in LA, I had a dog by my side, an Emmy in my trunk, and a phone number in my pocket. I had won the Emmy while on a bed at a Motel 6 in a town not worth remembering in Nebraska. When they called my name, I celebrated by clearing my greasy burger off my bed to find the phone. Hello? Congratulations. It was my agent. Thanks, Joan. Thanks. Are you thrilled? Sure. I only wish shooting a movie was as glorious as they make it sound when they said I wasn't there. Not so glamorous, huh? Who's complaining? Hey, listen, does this mean I'm an actress? I think it does. So will I have to go to LA at some point if I want to do it for real? At some point, yeah. Okay, I'll move to LA. No rush, Anne. No rush. I picked up I packed up my apartment 2 days after the shoot was over and was in my car a day after that. I don't like to waste time when something has to be done. If it has to be done, do it. Nick was in LA while I was shooting with Jess in the cornfields. We had broken up and broken up again, and we're still trying to figure out if we were broken up when I called him to help me find an apartment. He did. Again, the confusion about being broken up came up. So are we? Who knows? I don't know. Things were so fucked up for a while. Things were always fucked up, Anne. I was fucked up, and you were fucked up. We were so eloquent and so fucked up. I've been doing a lot of work on myself since I've been here. Really, that's great. Yeah, it feels great. You look great, it shows. You look great. We talked and fucked and talked some more about why we were fucking and why we seem to be connecting better than we'd been before. This new therapy that I'm trying really seems to be helping me break through some stuff in a way I couldn't before, he said. I was intrigued. Really? What is it? He was hesitant. I'm doing LSD therapy. I had taken LSD one night at a Grateful Dead concert and had the time of my life. It was just that I could barely remember what time that was, so I didn't do it again. To be quite frank, drugs scared me. The idea that they could help me, however, fascinated me. Nick explained all about the therapy and the 60s and Timothy Leary and how LSD had benefited his life and the lives of many others whom he knew. It was all strange and curious, and I wanted to meet these others. Nick introduced me to a group of his friends who were also doing this radical therapy, and they all told me how much it had helped them. Incidentally, Nick's hard work paid off. I heard he stopped drinking. These people were among the most loving, giving, honest, straightforward I had met. I liked what they were telling me. It sounded very similar to what Dr. Ernst and I had been doing in New York. But without the drug, I wanted to know more. As it was described to me, a very low dose of LSD could take you into your unconscious mind and allow you to see what is stored there. Like Dr. Ernst's Ernst's emotional storage bins, once discovered, the pain could be released. These journeys would take place with the therapist who would help guide you. The LSD worked as a tool, not as a solution, to allow you to see yourself in a clearer and deeper way by allowing you to release the emotional blocks of your childhood. I was intrigued, but I didn't want to do this therapy alone. If I was going to be exploring something this intense and potentially scary, I wanted another therapist not involved in this journey work to help me too. After getting settled in an apartment and taking a break, as Dr. Ernst had suggested, I found another Reichian therapist. I picked a woman this time because I wanted a strong female presence to guide me in dealing with my relationship with my mother. I told Dr. Mann about my life and the work I had done with Dr. Ernst. I told her what I thought my issues were with my family and mother and what I was ready to confront and heal in this next stage of therapy. I also told her about the LSD therapy I was considering and wanted her opinion. She had heard of LSD therapy. She had also heard of its being incredible, helpful, and healing. Although she could not recommend it to me, LSD is illegal. She agreed that she would work with me, knowing that I was also exploring this other therapeutic avenue for healing. Don't get me wrong, LSD is illegal, and so is the work that I am about to describe. I do not recommend this type of therapy or drug use to anyone. I am telling you about it because it was an important tool that helped me heal my life. I had two long conversations with Arthur over the phone before I met him. Although we were talking about an illegal form of therapy, the conversations were very much like the beginning conversations with any therapist. He asked me questions about my life, what I wanted to explore, what I thought my blocks and issues were. He told me about himself and why he did this work and how he felt it helped people. He had a sweet, calm voice. He neither encouraged nor discouraged me from doing this journey work. He talked about the growth he had seen in other patients, but was clear with me that this work wasn't for everyone. He warned that it could get scary at times and perhaps take me to places within my mind that could get uncomfortable, both physically and mentally. He explained that some people hadn't liked the intensity, but he had never encountered any problems with a client, and no one had ever been hurt while working with him. He was very honest about the fact that I would be taking a drug, an illegal substance, and that I was responsible for that decision. He explained that he had been doing this work since the 60s and used theories very similar to what Timothy Leary describes in his books, and he recommended that I read them. He described the process to me over the phone and told me that he would explain anything I had questions about in further detail at any time. He understood that making this commitment was a big one and that I needed to be clear about it. After deep contemplation over the next couple of months, I made my decision. A couple I met through Nick had become very good friends of mine. They offered to drive me to my session and pick me up afterward. The first time was always scary and very emotional, they explained, and they wanted to show me their support. We showed up at Arthur's house at 9 o'clock on a Saturday morning. He had told me to wear comfortable clothing. I would be lying on a bed all day and wanted to be flexible. We had talked about my sessions with Dr. Ernst, and he explained that similar body reactions could happen and I should be prepared. When he opened the door, he had a smile on his face and a glass of orange juice in his hand. He was sweeter and smaller than I had imagined, with an Asian beauty I found immediately appealing. My friends hugged him and then said goodbye to us, wishing me a good journey and love in my travels into the mind. Arthur and I talked for a while, and he soothed my nervous energy before getting started. It's always scary the first time, he said. After that, it's always easier. I didn't know if there would be a second time, and I told him so. It's up to you, Annie. Every choice you make is yours. That was a refreshing thought. Every choice is mine? I had never thought of that before, but it sounded so obvious. I had made my choice. I was there. I wanted the journey. I'm ready, I said. He took my hand and said a quick prayer. God, Goddess, all that is, make this a safe journey for Anne and let her know that I will be here to help and guide her when she needs it. What do you got, bruvs? He handed me a little pill and a glass of water. After I took it, he led me to a bed and handed me a set of eye shades and a pair of earphones. It's me. Yeah, it's me too. To be completely in your unconscious mind, there had to be no outside distractions. He had told me he would play music as my guide, but discouraged me from taking off the eye shades at any time, unless I needed to use the restroom. If I wanted a sip of water, I could call out and he would bring it to me. If I was scared, he would come to my side. If I felt an emotion, he encouraged me to be with it, allow it, feel it. The work was about feeling and releasing the feeling so you could be free. When I was ready for my journey, I lay down on the bed, covered my eyes, and covered my ears. Soon I heard music and was on my way. I have to admit, I thought drugs would be fun. I mean, come on, they're drugs. I thought the music would come on and I would sink into a great feeling, maybe feel a rush of pleasure wash over my body, and maybe see some fun stuff like fairies or colorful clowns or anything for that matter before I got into the me of it all. I mean, I knew I could get into the me of it all. That's what I was there for. That's what I paid for, to see myself in a deeper, clearer way. That's what was promised, but I had no idea what I was in for. The image I saw of myself was the scariest, ugliest, most uncomfortable, disgusting thing I have ever seen. I saw myself as shit. No kidding, no lie. I saw and was shit. I don't want to gross anyone out. I am not meaning to scare anyone. I am telling you the truth of what I saw and what I felt inside myself. I saw me as shit. I don't know how long it took for the unrecognizable sounds coming through the earphones to guide me to the toilet in my mind, but it couldn't have been long because it's all I remember about the day. First, I was looking at my shit in the toilet, then I was my shit. Just like that, every bit of me was shit, and there was nothing I could do about it. I was it. Yes, it was all in my mind, but my mind saw shit. I could feel it on me, in me, up me, and around me. I could not escape it. It strangled me, it tortured me, it gagged me. I had been encouraged to allow the feeling, explore the feeling. How do you allow a feeling when you are the feeling? Shit was coming out of every pore of me. I reeked of it. I was rolling in it when I turned over, and I was sitting in it when I sat up. I was it. I was shitting shit, and I was the shit I was shitting. I was disgusting, absolutely, awfully, disgustingly disgusting. I was grosser than gross. I couldn't get away from me, and how gross I was. I thought to call Arthur over, but what was I going to say? He wanted me to feel my feelings. Well, I felt them all right. I was choking on them. What was he going to do with my shit? I wanted to do this therapy thing right. I wanted to be in my feelings, even if I hated them more than anything. I had hated in my life. I was going to take drugs and whine about it all day. If shit was on the plate, I was going to handle shit. I can be shit, I thought. Surely this shit can't last all day. Ha! Double ha. It felt like years in that bed of shit and shame and grossness. I felt like the torture was never going to end. How you doing, Annie? I heard the sweet voice of Arthur under my earphones, and I wanted to kill. I ripped off my shades, got tangled in my ear cord, and started to scream at him. I don't know what the words were. I think I told him something or other about what I saw, how I felt, but I couldn't describe how awful it was. When I was done screaming, the screaming turned to tears. Tears of rage and tears of sadness and tears of complete and utter embarrassment about what I saw, what I felt. When I was done, my body fell limp on the bed like I was dead. Who am I? Who the fuck am I? I am nothing. I am nothing. I am shit. Arthur, shit. You are not shit, Annie. Nothing about you is shit. Then why did I see that? Why was it all over me? Why was I nothing? Why am I so nothing? I was a heap of pain and crying and sobbing. I had never felt so low, so ugly, and so utterly embarrassed. Arthur tried to calm me down, holding me and gently explaining what I saw. When you are abused, you take on the shame of the person who abused you, and you think that you are the abuse. Your image of the abuse is what you saw. It is not you. I hate it. I hate it so much. I don't want to be that. I can't be that. How can I live like that? You don't have to live like that. That's why you're here, to see it, feel the pain of it, then let it go. It is not yours. You are not your abuse. What happened to you is not your fault. What was done to you is in your past. And if you can see what it has made you feel about yourself, you can heal it and let it go. You are not the shit. This shit is the shame of your father. It is not yours. Do you understand the difference? I understood the difference, but it felt like mine. How do I get it out of me? By experiencing the feelings around it and putting those feelings in the appropriate place outside of yourself. By giving those feelings back to the people who deserve them so that they are not directed at yourself. Dr. Ernst said it would be a long road, and I was feeling the length of the trip. Will I ever get out of this shit? Yes, I believe you will. That's what I am here to help you do. I was feeling so gross that I didn't think I could get off the bed, walk out the door, or even have my life again. I felt so sorry for myself and anyone else who had ever had the shame of someone else put inside their body. Someone else's shame is so ugly. My father's shame was so ugly. I don't want it in me. I want it out of me. Knowing that it's not yours is a good place to start. I am not my father. You are not your father. I am not shit. I said it like it was the beginning of my life's mantra. You are not shit, Annie. I'm sorry that that happened to you, but you are not your abuse. You are a beautiful person who was abused as a child. You are now an adult, here to see yourself separate from the abuse so you can live happily and fully as you. It was a nice thought. To live happily and fully as me. I would ponder this day for months before I could return to Arthur and the interior of my mind to get my next lesson. The easiest way to explain myself during this time is to say that I existed as two people. I was the person who went to therapy and sat on the couch in Dr. Mann's office, exploring my feelings of shit and shame. And I was the person who continued to be a workaholic. I fought each day in auditions and readings to become a successful actress. I made a promise to myself that I would be directing my own movies by the time I was 29. I didn't know that festering underneath my drive was a goal I had unconsciously set for myself to receive the love of my father. I made becoming a successful actress my goal, and I fought each day to attain it. I did whatever it took to win the hearts of casting directors, but I did through my work, my commitment. I took no shortcuts, kissed no ass. I dressed as the characters when I went in to read. I memorized every line off every side that I got so that I never had to look down at a page in an audition. I learned accents, sang songs, or dyed my hair if that's what a role called for. I didn't believe in being lazy. I believed in fighting a fight and showing that I was competent and capable of anything they asked. I went back 2 times or 10 times if that's what they wanted. I built my reputation slowly and I earned every job I got. The first week I arrived in LA, I got a part on Murphy Brown, playing what they described as a young Murphy. I loved watching Candice Bergen and admired her for what she had accomplished, but I knew that I wouldn't make it to her level of success by doing guest starring roles on other people's TV shows. And I made a commitment to myself to never do a guest appearance again. In fact, television was out altogether. I decided, unless it was cable. I told my agent and stayed true to my promise. 3 weeks later, I auditioned for a play called Us and Them, written and directed by a woman named Betsy Thomas. I was cast to play her. I didn't know anyone when I moved to LA and was all of a sudden surrounded by a group of creative people my own age. That was new for me. I had never had friends my own age. I didn't understand people my own age. They were just starting to get their bearings after graduating from college. They spent their time smoking pot, drinking beer, and playing air guitar. It was so foreign to me I couldn't relate. I had been working since I was 12, had been on a soap, and had no idea how to relax, kick back, and have a good time. They tried to teach me. I tried to smoke pot. I tried to hang out, but I couldn't really. They lovingly made fun of me, and I of them. I though, I think it's supposed to be I thought. No T's just missing. I thought that if I started dating a guy that hung in their circle, I would feel more comfortable, but that didn't work either. Having sex with a guy my own age was more frustrating than not being able to smoke pot. Henry was the most adorable guy I had ever seen. He wore baggy Levi's, brass buckles, and thrift store jackets. He was the definition of mellow and cool, in that way that guys whom you want to be friends with in high school are cool. I had a history that was too ugly to explain to someone just out of college. He was beginning to define his life. He was a writer, a brilliant writer at that, but I was coming to terms with being raped and homeless, and I felt like an outcast. A girl with all this baggage, a burden, the last thing I felt was cool. These people were cool. I could play them in plays, but I wasn't them, at least not to me. I was the opposite of them. They were the us, and I was the them. As luck would have it, I got an offer to go to North Carolina to act in a TV movie series of young Indiana Jones stories. I couldn't believe it. I was going to meet the man who made the very first movie I saw, Mr. George Lucas. I didn't contain my glee at getting parts. I still don't. Every part I get, I scream for joy. I feel lucky when I get hired. And when the luck is this good, I jump and shout. Each and every one of my roles I feel I got for a reason that would shape the rest of my life and lead me to the next place that I was supposed to go. Not only in my career, not only in my career, every single thing that happened in my life happened for a reason. And I mean everything. Without my father, my mother, and my childhood, I wouldn't be where I am today. Without each part, each role, each place I traveled, I wouldn't be writing this book. If I hadn't done the Young Indie series, I wouldn't have met Lindsay, and Lindsay was worth a meet. There was a layover on the flight from North Carolina to LA, and I got off the plane. As I liked to do back then, I played the game of who's the cutest person in the airport. If you've never played, it's really fun, and it's played exactly like it sounds. You ask yourself who the cutest person in the airport is, and then you find them. Well, my eyes were gazing and my mind straying when I came upon a guy in all black, black from head to toe. Now we were in the boonies, remember, and not many people were dressed in black. In fact, no one was. We're talking floral and flannel. Black was way too mod in these parts. Of course, I had to move closer. I was really curious now because the guy was standing in line for my plane. He was really skinny, which also made him stand out because, along with the floral and flannel look these people had going, they were not turning down cheese and pie at the dinner table, if you know what I mean. He was wearing sunglasses, this guy, so I couldn't really see his eyes, but either way, he got my vote. If not for looks, at least originality. I got on the plane, and lo and behold, who was I sitting next to? Mr. Black on Black on Black himself. I scooted into my first class seat. I got to sit in first class when a movie company flew me around and tried not to look under his glasses to see if he was worth the vote. He was paying absolutely no attention to me, but was fiddling with a cassette player and headphones, which interested me as well, as I was casually looking about nowhere, absolutely nowhere. He plopped the tape down in the middle section between the seats, and I casually had to look right at it. It was labeled drum tracks. What are drum tracks? I wondered, thinking it was obvious, but kind of wanting to know from him. Are you a drummer? I innocently asked as he was readying to put on the earphones. Ah, no, no, I'm not. Oh, I was still curious. Are you a musician? Ah, yes. Yes, I am. Next, I said, and could have popped a lollipop into my mouth. What do you play? Guitar, he answered simply, and sort of smiled, but more like a Mona Lisa kind of smile, not the real thing. How long is this damn chapter? It's almost over. Neat. That got a for real smile. I guessed he liked the word neat. You ever play with anyone I might have heard of? No, he was full on smiling. I guessed that, of course, he hadn't. Didn't I see the podunk town we were flying out? You ever hear of Fleetwood Mac? Fleetwood Mac, I said it like I had to chew on it. I don't think so, no. Why should I have? By the way, he was looking at me. I thought he thought I should have. No, not especially. I still think it's neat, though. Are you going to LA to try your luck? Something like that, yeah, he said, and then he took off his glasses. He didn't know that I was playing a game, but if he had, I would have told him that he was worth the vote. Well, wouldn't you know, he never got those phones to his ears. We talked the whole flight back to LA. This is kind of gross, he said as the plane was landing. I've never asked a girl for her number on a plane ride before, but how about if I give you mine and you can call me if you ever want to go out and have a cup of coffee sometime? Neat, I said, and accepted the cutest guy in the airport's number. Betsy, the playwright, was picking me up at the airport. I met her down in baggage so she wouldn't have to park her car. How was the flight? She asked. Great, I answered. I met this really nice guy who gave me his number. Gross, she was disgusted. I know. I'll never call him, but he was nice. What was his name? She asked as we put my bags in the back seat of the Toyota. Lindsay something. Lindsay who? I can't remember, I said. He's a musician. A musician. Yeah. She paused and looked at me sideways as she slammed her door. Is he famous? I don't think so, I said. Maybe, though. She was getting frustrated. My lack of pop culture knowledge had gotten in the way of our communication before. Was he sitting in first class, she asked. Yeah, that's how we met. He was sitting next to me. Buckingham. Was his last name Buckingham? Yeah, that's it. I said it all excited like she had won the quiz. Lindsey Buckingham just gave you his phone number. Do you have any idea who he is, Anne? Obviously not, B. He's the fucking lead guitarist of Fleetwood Mac, Anne. She said it like I was a little stupid. Well, how the hell am I supposed to know who Fleetwood fucking Mac is? Betsy rolled her eyes as we pulled into the airport traffic. You're calling him, she said, if for no other reason except for me to meet him. You got it. We drove for a minute. I can't believe you met Lindsey fucking Buckingham and didn't know who he was. I can't either, I wanted to agree. Was he cute? He won my vote. Was he old? Old? What's old? I figured her definition and mine would be different. Does he have wrinkles? No, no wrinkles. Betsy and I were doing another play together that she wrote about abortion. Jesus Christ. Clinton was up for election, and we were dead set on doing anything in our power to get the Republicans out. It was a one woman show, and I was the woman. I figured it would be a great excuse to call Mr. No Wrinkles. I asked him to come to the show after I made sure he was a Democrat. Older men I could handle, but Republicans were out. He brought me a CD before we went to the show, and I was blown away. I was blown away, and then he was blown away. At least that's what he said. Men will say anything to get a girl into bed. I'm aware of that now. I wanted to believe him, and he may have told the truth, but that doesn't negate my notion of older men and their need for youth. I was on board with another guy in his 40s, almost 50s, who was trying to be in his 20s. Lindsay and I traveled together for a while he was on tour, and I tried to be the good girlfriend groupie. We had fun for about a year. We played, we sang, but I was playing for him and not for me. I needed my own career and wasn't willing to sacrifice it for a rock star. I had just gotten cast in a John Frankenheimer movie, and it seemed like the perfect time to make the split. Goodbye, Lindsay. Hello, Nashville. Don't stop thinking about tomorrow. Don't stop. It'll soon be here. It'll be better than before. Yesterday's gone. Yesterday's fucking gone. Chapter 11. That's a pretty short one, so we definitely will read it. The Monster and Me. My last session with Arthur was worse than my first, or better, I suppose, depending on how you look at it. It was worse when I was in it, and better when I was out. I went into the session with an open mind, willing to confront anything that I saw of myself, but I was not prepared to see what I saw or feel what I felt. I thought that if it got difficult, I could get help. That's what Arthur had told me, but once I was in, I was so far in that I couldn't ask for help. I couldn't ask for anything. It wasn't the image of myself that I saw that day. It was the image of my father. He was on top of me, just like I had seen fragments of before in Dr. Ernst's office. But this time it was real, the whole picture. I was confronting my monster. He was on top of me, burying my face in a pillow, pulling me onto all fours, and raping me. When you are deep in a journey, you are the age, the strength, and the size that you were at the time of the memory. It feels exactly as if you are there and it is happening to you all over again. At first, I went into the same mode as in Dr. Ernst's office, where my entire body went limp. I tried to disappear into the pillow, make my body as detached from the experience as possible. When it didn't stop the monster, I started to scream. I screamed out for my mother to come and stop him. I screamed and screamed until I had no lung power left and my throat was raw. When I realized that my voice was gone and no one was going to come and save me, I began my fight. I was precise with my actions at first. I very carefully tried to maneuver my elbows to a place where I could wound him, but my arms were too tiny and frail to overcome his strength and weight. Next, I balled my hands into fists and started beating at him to get off of me, but again I was too weak. When I realized that my arms could not protect me, I mustered all the strength I could into my entire body and began a fight. I would fight for the next 8 hours. For 8 straight hours, I fought to get my monster off me. My fists and legs were flailing uncontrollably as the terror of my abuse overtook every part of my being. I became consumed with the rage of what I felt each time my monster raped me, and I was determined that he wasn't going to win this time. I was going to do anything to get him off and win the battle once and for all. Arthur had to hold my arms down to stop me from beating myself, but he allowed the fight and the struggle. He knew I had to win. He knew how difficult it had to be. He knew that I had to feel all of its release. I had to feel all of it to release it once and for all and get the monster off. The more he held me down, the harder I fought. I became exhausted, but I didn't care. My weakness was not going to hold me back. I found strength in places I didn't know I had. When one part of me stopped moving from exhaustion, another kicked into gear. As the day went on, my voice came back, and I found the courage in my language to match the courage in my body. Get off me, you motherfucker. Get off me. When my voice joined the fight, there was no stopping me. I don't know how I did it, but I stopped believing in my monster and started believing in myself. He became weak and I became strong. I don't know where it came from. It was deep and guttural and as vicious and vile a fight as he had fought me with. But this time he was the loser. Get off me. You think you can do this to me, you motherfucker? You think this is okay? This is not okay. You cannot do this to me. I am your daughter, and this is not okay, you fucking piece of shit. You nothing. You rapist. You horrid creature. You are not my father. You do not deserve me. You are a fucking monster. Now get the fuck off. Get the fuck off of me now. And he was gone. The strength I had found was not in my body. There is no way an infant, a 3-year old, a 6-year old, or even a 12-year old can fight a grown man. He had taken control of my body, but he didn't have control of my mind. I was alive. He was dead. I was strong. He was weak. I had me. He did not. I wasn't his to take anymore. I never was. Abusers do not take away the soul, the mind, the heart, or even the body of their victims. Something terrible is done to us, something they can only do because we are smaller than they. But we are not weaker. They are the weak. What do you got? Right. How pathetic that some people have to take out their self hatred on innocent children, less than half their own size. How horribly fucking pathetic. When we are young and vulnerable, we want to believe that adults know more than we do, that they exert their control because they know better. In my cases, that's true. In the case of my father and every single person who abuses a child, that is not true. Once we understand that who we are when we come into this world cannot be taken away by anyone, no matter what they do to us to make us believe otherwise, we can begin to embrace ourselves. Working with Arthur gave me an understanding of myself that I believe I would not have achieved otherwise. I have not done LSD since. Let's see how long this is. Yeah, I'm going to stop here. This chapter's at least 10, 12 more pages, 16 pages. 16, 18. Yeah, I'm definitely not reading this. Yeah, that's going to have to be it. You came at the wrong time, Angry. That's all, bros. Maybe I'll play some records.